What is going on, y'all? KMBest here. I have been having a blast with a deck that I'm not sure is on a lot of people's radar, but it should be because it's very good. A few months ago, it might have seemed totally insane to say Victoria Hand wasn't a deck on a lot of people's radar, but since then, metagames have shifted drastically over time, and that has led to Victoria Hand now, I think, becoming a bit of an underrated deck. And I'll tell you why in 2 words. And those 2 words, Shadow King. This is just one of the best Shadow King shells that exists in the world right now, and I gotta say, I am starting to feel like this metagame is basically defined by this card. Is it the only reason this deck functions? Not exactly, but is it the best card in the deck a lot of the time? Yeah, it is. Man Spider, zombies, random buffs from anything. All of those things are really important to deal with the Shadow King, and that is to say nothing of the entire move deck. There are so many targets for this card. When I did my RSM video yesterday, I talked about how it was the most important tech card in RSM. By the same token, it is the most important card in this deck. And the reason this is a good Shadow King deck is because it has a lot of ability to pair it with other cards that win games. And that's quite important. The rest of the deck is just very efficient points packages. If you're going to be a Shadow King deck, you need your points to be hyper efficient in terms of deploying them. Hyper efficiency is achieved with things like Quinjetting your cloned Victoria Hand generally, demons that of course cost 1 and get buffed. That gives you a lot to do with the remaining 3 energy to go alongside your Shadow King, and fundamentally, that's just what this deck is about. Like, really, when you get down to it, this is a final turn scam deck. You have Shadow King, you have Quake, and then you have, with the rest of your energy, just a lot of points for that amount of energy. Bang for your buck on the final turn of the game. This deck will probably do more with 3 or 4 energy than most other decks are capable of. And that is really the sort of secret advantage to why Victoria Hand is this kind of engine. This is a really solid deck right now. Is it the best deck in Marvel Snap? I'm not sure. But what I am sure is that in this world where everyone has started talking about how we're talking about fully combo metagames, everything's about combos and combos and combos, it is shocking the amount of those combos that simply get ended by the card Shadow King. Genuinely shocking. And when you have that ability, you can play a little bit more of a small ball mid-rangey style. And we all know that I am a fan of the small ball styles. No pun intended. The Hood is the classic small ball strategy here. Now, Hood Misery is not going to beat things that are extremely large, but there's been a bit of an uptick in RSM style stuff recently, and I feel like I am in some way responsible for that. That RSM style stuff is just full of tech cards. It's kind of nice that they're around here policing this stuff at the same time you are, because I'm not sure Shadow King would be able to hold you down in a world where there wasn't a tech deck running around as well, and RSM is definitely filling that role. This is a long way of trying to relate this back to the Hood, and trust me, it will get there. But basically what I'm trying to say is, as long as things aren't getting too out of hand, Hood Misery is a great way to get points. It just is. This is a very efficient way to get points. So as long as things aren't getting too stupid to the point that your efficiency doesn't matter, which I think we are at a relative low ebb of combo stuff right now. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but like, it's kinda just moving Cerebro, and like, yes, we totally eat it to Cerebro, but there's not nearly as many of those as you might think. And if you are seeing a lot of Cerebro, I will give you like a very clear note. You should not play this deck because Cerebro does make you feel quite stupid quite a bit of the time. But pretty much the rest of the metagame is stuff you're pretty comfortable against because the combo decks have been measuring themselves against each other. And in the measuring of themselves against each other, they have decided like what the top ones are, and you're pretty okay against those. And that's a nice spot to be in, which means that your efficiency is once again a little bit more valuable. Nico Minoru is the glue girl of this deck, where, you know, sometimes, rarely, you'll be able to do Nico clone V-Hand. That's obviously quite good. Very good force multiplier. Gets you a little bit higher than your normal level of power. Gets you to be able to compete with some of those combo decks some of the time. It's important to have access to stuff like that. You don't have access to it as reliably as those decks, but you do have access to it, and that's important. The other thing she can do is draw cards for you. A little bit harder to do that in this deck because your hand space is at a premium. You are very often sculpting your hand for future Moon Girls, things of that nature, and it's important not to get super clogged up, especially when that clogged up hand might prevent you from drawing a Victoria hand, a Great Moon Girl target in her own right, or a Quinjet to make everything easier in the future. She can turn stuff into demons. That's pretty good too. Good way to remove the hood, but don't be too hasty with what she is doing. I really do think the copy is her best mode in this deck. Obviously, you get a little location control out of her. You get a little location control out of Quake. Gives you some good things to do. Quinjet is your hand easer here. Like, obviously, your best draws are a lot of, like, I Moon Girled my V-Hand after friggating my V-Hand, and also I had a Quinjet, so it was like a turn 5 Quinjet and a Moon Girl, and now all my hand costs nothing and gets a million buffs, and that's really what you're trying to do with this deck. The thing about making plays like that is you have to be really judicious and really smart about your positioning in the early stages of the game, so you don't limit yourself to a certain amount of points being placed in the lane at any given time. This means you really want to avoid any situation where you have like 3 cards in a lane that you aren't really confident that you're ahead enough that like a demon can do the job there. You typically want to be pretty judicious in spreading your power out and making sure what you need to do is actually something that can happen in these games. We talked about the economy of board slots already, and it is, unfortunately, a quite important piece of this deck. One of the easiest ways to lose is to make your final turn extremely predictable by only being able to put like 8 or 9 power into a lane on the final turn of the game. That's a bad thing. You do not want that. And so in the interest of making your board space work for you, Agony is helpful both in terms of not taking up a board slot effectively and in terms of being a pretty interesting, like, speed kind of, like, let's get an even higher ceiling kind of thing, where you do Agony into V-Hand into Frigga and suddenly your V-Hand is 6 power. That kind of stuff is pretty cool. You do have to keep in mind, like, okay, yeah, Agony is going to cost me like maybe a Shadow King lane some of the time, but generally speaking, this is just a card that plays into the strengths of this deck. It makes your copies a little bit better, and it makes your board space issues a little bit better as well. Iron Patriot makes cards. That's really good in your deck. Now, you aren't the best at following him up. You're like pretty okay when you have a hood and a demon and all of that, but you're just pretty cool with him making cards a decent amount of the time, and it's hard for people to contest him sometimes as well, so he gets to be your punish into like some of these combo-y decks where it's not exactly easy for a move deck to contest him based on how their early game is going. They can, but usually depending on positioning, you can be like, all right, well, you're not going to do that reasonably well, or it's going to be a problem for you if you contest because it will involve investing a lot early. That kind of stuff is pretty reasonably like foreseeable. Oh, they have an Aranya. Okay, I'll play it in the same lane as the Aranya. So that way, if they do use the Aranya, well, guess where it's not going? That kind of thing, right? It's a pretty reasonable thing to do. A lot of it involves like, all right, well, I'm going to make you play a different way if you want to contest this. And if they don't contest it, well, you have a really cheap guy. Maybe you could double it with a Moon Girl, get some extra procs, do cool stuff with this card. I am starting to wonder if Mirage might just not just be better than Iron Patriot full stop. I think this is just a really good card. She does a bunch of nice stuff because this deck really wants cheap cards. Iron Patriot, when it works, is getting you cheap cards. When Mirage works, which is literally just playing the card Mirage, she's going to get you, like, a lot of the time, it's going to be like a 1/5 that gets buffed by a Victoria hand. That is almost a better outcome than most Iron Patriots, right? Like, there are great Iron Patriots to be had, but once you start getting into that 5 and 6 range, unless you have the Quinjet, it's like, I might not actually be able to play this if I start duplicating my hand. My energy is really spoken for here. It is not lost on me that a lot of the results from a Mirage are just actually that good. Quake is a big time flex slot because you want to have like a tech card here, but they're all kind of expensive. You can go Mercury if you want in here. I think that's totally fine. You can do things here, but like things I would advise against, you can't play Cosmic Ghost Rider in here. He's just way too expensive. You can't play anything at like 3. Really, I think 3 is kind of the limit for this slot. I don't think you can go higher than that. Like, I think maybe you could get another 3-cost tech card in here, but that really limits you. It's like Mobius or Mercury or something like that, and you can do it, but I just don't think you have the latitude to go play things like Cosmic Ghost Rider in a deck like this. I don't think you can afford to be doing that. You need to be using your turn 5 more for setting up your like efficient end game kind of thing. Victoria Hand is quite good in this deck built around Victoria Hand. I would consider her irreplaceable. 10 out of 10, would recommend. Frigga is quite good in this deck built around copying Victoria Hand. I would consider her irreplaceable. 10 out of 10, 6 out of 7, would recommend. How good Shadow King is sort of determines the viability of this deck. There are certain metagames where Shadow King is not going to be very good. Like if we were in a Cerebro Hella metagame and you were seeing just a bunch of Cerebro and a bunch of Hella, I would not recommend you play this deck because it is very much about the viability of the few slots of tech that it has access to, which I am using on Quake and Shadow King. Those are really good right now. It's just a really good piece of thing, a really good thing to be doing. And so Shadow King is the bellwether of this deck. Where he goes, the deck follows. If people are doing combos that are bigger than what this deck is, that he can't deal with, you don't play this. Moon Girl is a force multiplier. So obviously you have like your, I'm going to frig on my V-hand, then I'm going to Moon Girl that. A lot of what the hard part of this deck is managing your board space and your hand space simultaneously so that you copy the stuff you want with Moon Girl without setting yourself up to overfill your board and maintaining your flexibility as to where your points are distributed later in the game. This is a deck that really feels the 7-card hand limit and the 12-card on board limit. Both of those things are really apparent. It's a big part of why Agony is so important here because she gets out of your hand and doesn't take up a board spot. And a lot of that is down to Moon Girl's influence on this deck. 2, I would argue nobody's surprise. Misery is basically perfectly fine, if not still a little bit too strong at 4-8. I'm not saying they need to nerf her to 4-7 or anything. This deck is not the kind of problem I think they need to be solving right now, but this is obviously still a very good card. That is obviously above rate. Extremely strong. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I've been KMBest. You've been phenomenal. We're going to jump into some gameplay right now. I really hope you enjoy it because I had some of the coolest games of my whole career with this list. I hope you like it, and I will see you in the next one. The math. I was like 14. What's up, dog? It's been a little while. How you been? Math is hard, so true. Hey, Misery. Yeah, I do like a nice spider pump. It is suddenly incredibly crucial that this work, right? God, I'm scared. Tribunal combat. No, I mean, that is what I'm doing. It's just like...
Systems go.
Dog, I'm absolutely fucking horrified at this point. I have no idea. Oh my god, did we pull it off? We pull it off? Wait, we might lose the middle anyway, right?
Such is my
120? No, we go above 40, right? 46! Let's go. God damn.
victory.
Iris, no. Fuck. Madam Web is the scary shit here.
I'm about to juice this up.
I have priority here. Do they move a Cosmo or do they not? There a way to mathematically guarantee that I have one of these happening? Yes, right? I can go like 1... like 1, 2, 3, 4. One. Best I got, I think. I had to have one quake happen, goddammit! And we got one quake. One quake happened.
Victor.
Iron Page animation. Thank you. The cat's meowing. What's going on? What's going on, baby? Meow.
The throne.
Meow. Hey. How you doing, sweetie? I'm probably losing to this, right? I don't know. We'll find out. That's no longer a Galacti, huh? Okay, so however big Galacti is, it's just 4, 8, 3, and then 4, correct? So this is 12. This is 19 total. What, bother with it? Am I supposed to bother with this? $16 left now? Oh yeah, I mean, like, assuming that happens, yes. Wow. I guess it does beat me. Probably. Never mind. Shenanigan.
Victory.
Ew. I technically run a card that can deal with that. Oh no, I cut that card. R.I.P. Thank you. I gotta go for V-Hand Frigga now. Normally I don't like doing that, but I mean, like, for obvious reasons. Ain't gonna work in the future. They are Arishem. And taking a long time on turn 1, which suggests to me potentially they are a viewer. Played on that agony. I mean, okay. I'll greet it. Is this a little fucking greedy? Yeah, it's a little fucking greedy. I get a 1 out of their thing and it's fine, which I did.
Opponent snapped.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty scary. Alright. I do have a Shadow King. It's not like the end of the fucking world. What am I doing here? It's like a pretty hard spot, honestly. My next play here is Power Stone, V-Hand Demon. Like a win to me. I don't know, sure. I know I'm SKing my V-Hand. We are at 14. Shit, you're right. Okay. I mean, I guess we win. I'll take the 8 there. Good.
Snap.
I don't know that we need the V-Hand. I'll be honest with you. Damn, that's a Shadow King.
Minions to me.
Didn't we do that mid? You mean? draw. No, I just think I want this many cards, right? I think I'm interested in doing...
Minions to me. Minions to me.
I'm about to juice this up.
Think about this. I actually think it's more likely to be this.
Minions to me. Minions to me.
Power
Nice,
must
dude.
be controlled.
Proud of you. I don't think they can win the middle. Maybe they... I don't think they can eat the Luna. Yeah, they definitely... Okay, we're good. We're good.